Hello everyone, this is CJanovo992 and today we're back for the brand new video and we're back with a bang and we're back to normal after the slight little distraction that was the weekend that saw us play football for about 9-10 minutes and it was good enough to win us a game of football for the first time in ages since we played. Alloa, we are back to normality and business as usual as Russell Kenneth Alexander Martin Rangers continues to suck every ounce of joy and happiness that I have left in my grey soul. And look, I can understand there were people going in the defensive arguing the fact that we were down to 10 men, and yes, quite clearly there was several VAR decisions that went against us on the day. Trust me, we'll speak about them later on in today's video, but I didn't want to just get tunnel vision. I didn't just want to talk about referees. I didn't want to just talk about VAR. I didn't want to talk about that because when you take a step back and you look, there is so much to question and there's so much to be frustrated about because the standard of football, troops, is absolutely chronic to watch. It's so slow, so robotic, it's so lifeless that it just zaps all the energy and life. I mean, that was a European night and I feel like that was important to mention to people because again, it didn't look like a European game, it didn't sound like a European game, and it didn't feel like a European game, as every ounce of advantage we used to have in terms of Rangers under the bright lights on a European night has been ripped to shreds under this manager. There is zero fear factor regarding this team domestically or on the European stage, as every little thing that we had or what was given to us or what we were credited for regarding this top player, this ex-manager, this manager here over the last couple of years in terms of the Europa League is all completely long gone in the old memory, troops, as we look an absolute shadow of what was. And again, the fans are reflective to what we're seeing on the park, and what they're seeing is lifeless, robotic, passive football, and that's never ever going to breed success at any level, ladies and gentlemen. If your whole motive is to keep the ball for possession's sake, you're not going to be a successful Rangers manager and you're not going to be a successful Rangers team. Do you know how you become a successful Rangers team? You actually win games of football. Do you know how to win games of football? You play attacking football and you've got to score fricking goals. But it's another game where we seem more obsessed with passing about back and forth rather than putting the foot down. Again, people will point to the red card, but see, at the exact same time, how many times over your life of watching football have you heard it was actually tougher to score once it went down to 10 men? It almost played into their favour. They were able to be well organised and make it defensively very hard to break down. How many times have you said or heard that done? Why on earth can't it ever be us? Why do we, before the red card, play the exact same way after the red card? Why can't we organise at the back? Why can't we make it harder to break down? Why must we play the exact same style of football, no matter the opposition, no matter the circumstance, and no matter what on earth is gone wrong? You know what I mean? That to me almost says more about the lack of management from Russell Martin, especially when you consider what happened in our very last game, where again disciplinary problems are a thing right now. We did pick up a red card in our last game versus Club Brugge, again in the first half, and we were absolutely shell-shocked on that day as Russell Martin's game plan for the match was ripped up and we looked completely lost as there was no plan B, right? That can happen once, and I say it can happen once and never ever let it happen again as you learn. Listen guys, if this happens again, right, we've got to be able to do this, we've got to do that, we can't get humiliated, we can't put the fan base through that again. Well, the very following European game happens, and again, troops, we are still susceptible to every single attack. Oh, scored against us and he took his shirt off and celebrated, blah 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 blah. That guy should have had about 4 goals the day. If he didn't have the curious case of the Dessertitis, he would have punished us and pummeled us into dust. And you know, the best summary I can say for the overall game of football, the goal scorer that scored the only goal in the game that beat us on the day was somehow up there as one of our best players that kept the score down. Let that sink in. And it's just rotten, troops. It really, really is. And I do apologise if I'm coming across as too negative, or maybe I'm coming across as too harsh. You can let me know down in the comments section below, because I know it was only at 1-0 we got beat and we were doing to 10 men. But again, I always just look at things from a Rangers fan's perspective, because that is what I am. And what I saw today was the exact same thing I saw in the last round. I seen the exact same mistakes. I seen the exact same chances conceded. The only difference in the game of football not only being the scoreline was down to the opposition not being as good and the players themselves not being as good as the Club Brugge side. And I can't help but feel any team worth their salt with genuine attacking weapons is going to absolute feast on this team and give us more European pumpings and more humiliation. And that for me is the worrying sign, is there's no glimpses of progression or being willing to adapt or change or organisation at all. It's the same chance, time and time again, and it's almost unwatchable watching the Standard right now. And if you needed an example of that, have you been paying attention to the attendances? Ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't a sellout the day, and this is a European night in the Europa League where we've had some incredible memories and moments created that will stay with us for a very, very long time in terms of this competition. And it's no a sellout right now, because people know what they're getting for this team. They know the standard of football, and they didn't believe in the players, and they didn't believe in this manager, especially what he's asking from these players and the clueless nature we seemingly approach these games. And what's the excuse now? What's it going to be? Oh, it's the red card. I'm sure Martin will go down, but he's done every little thing. He said every trick. He said anxiety, he's tricked every single excuse in the book. He's even took them for a dip in Loch Lomond. What is next for this team? A weekend at Craig Tara. Now, regarding the actual players themselves, I'm needing to see a hell of a lot for a lot more of the bodies in there. I thought Asgard was shocking today, really, really shocking. I thought he was lazy, I thought he was jogging about. He wasn't even doing his tactical job in terms of taking the number 8 out the game of football, where I thought he'd be falling when putting a shift in day and all that. But still, the goal we conceded, one ball, long ball. We talked about it yesterday, nearly word for word, exactly how we would concede in this game of football. And it happens because it's just so lazy and it's just so wide open. It's like nothing's getting done about every single aspect of it. It's terrible to watch, and I thought Asgard was about as bad as it gets in terms of the midfield today, and he really needs to buck his ideas up, because I think there's a player in there, but this strutting about, I think you've done something in this shirt when you've done literally nothing. Can he be taken? But again, he's no the only one. I think it'd be better picking up a couple of the positives, and that's truly where I want to go now, troops. I want to talk about a couple positives briefly, because I thought Jackie B, again, I know we are getting embarrassed on the European stage. I know we conceded 9 goals in the last round of games that we played in terms of a 2-legged tie, but the fact that this man has stopped every single game we have been or played being a 6, a 7 or a 8 is a testament to the man who, again, not many of us fancied at the start of this season because we thought his heated went. But imagine if Jack Butland was playing this season like he was towards the end last season, with some of these scorelines could be. I thought Jack Butland was great, not only with the penalty save, but the 6 or 7 other saves that he made in the game of football. I'm just feeling bad for him watching playing in this absolute dross in front of him. He was one of the bright spots. I thought Gazma again was a bit of a bright spot, apart from that embarrassing dive. I've got no time for that either. By the way, I know he's one of our players and we like to defend our players to the hilt. I haven't got no interest in seeing folk dive, so that needs to actually stop. I thought Chermete was dreadful in the second half, and I'm thinking we've bought the wrong player, like Mike Bassett in that freaking movie for the 90s, troops. You know what I mean? I'm saying, oh, we bought somebody by accident. That's no a football player. And then he was bringing the ball and he was trying to make things happen in the second half, and he had his best moment in a Rangers shirt as he picks the left back up for Genk and throws him in to Russell Martin. That's about as good as it gets, and it's the biggest cheer I got for the day, seeing that man get flung into the old vegan. But the rest, man, like, where do I go with this? Mikey Moore's still getting picked for games of football. Mikey Moore is struggling for games of football, but that's no a surprise. So I almost feel bad for picking on a 17, 18-year-old kid, because he's getting picked despite struggling in every single freaking game that we watch. You know, we take the kid out the firing line. Let him build his confidence back up. Bring him into a game when we're actually winning. Give him some substitute minutes when we've got a couple goals and there's a bit of space there. Then he continue to tell the boy to try to learn to swim when he's freaking drowning and on the way down. He's struggling as badly as anyone right now, yet he's picked every single week for every single game over a guy we actually spent money on, who created 17 assists for open play last season, actually has a successful track rate in terms of chucking the ball in and assisting strikers. He's not getting played, and again he's getting played over the likes of Finlay Curtis, who's done nothing but be our player permanently, by the way, and score goals when he's been trusted. And again, that's when it peels back to Martin. You'd be like, what's that all about? Some people might argue it's no Russell Martin's fault, maybe it's a part of his loan deal, there's a certain clause he needs to play a certain amount of games. Well, bring me that guy. Tell me who that was. Was it Kevin? Because there's a lot of questions for him if we went ahead and brought Mikey Moore and guaranteed a certain amount of game time, because the kid's nowhere near it right now, and he actually needs protected if he's ever going to bounce back this season. Continuing again to throw him out there is absolutely shocking, but it's not the only brain-numbing decision we made all season long. The fact that we are playing, and again, a season where we have one legitimate left-back, and he's a 19-year-old laddie who's played, 25 games prior to signing for his football club, with zero European experience, zero title winning experience, cup competitions, anything like that. He is it, and to be fair, young Jayden has been very, very promising over the last few weeks, but just like every single young player, they'll play well, but then they'll have a dip. They'll play well, then they'll have a bad game. Well, the kid had a bad game the day, and he was targeted, and he was left to be exposed time and time and time again defensively the day. But we have zero on the bench. We have not built our team properly. We have not used the funds to strengthen our overall squad, that we just had to again let another kid go out there and drown in the game of football. It's painful, the situation we as a football club have put ourselves in. But I'm sure that's enough ranting for one day, but I just needed to get that off my chest, man. There is so many shocking decisions, shocking performances, shocking choices made on a game by game basis that you almost forget stuff. There's probably something I forgot for the game of football, as there's that much absolute nonsense and drivel out there. But speaking of, let's go ahead and dive in to the game of football, as we have a red card, we have some stupid VAR decisions to talk about as well that could have changed the game. But considering what we've seen so far in terms of Russell Martin's Rangers managerial reign, I can't for sure sit here and tell you if we had got a penalty and scored first in the game, we'd have went ahead and won it cleanly, because we've barely done that all season. And again, in yesterday's preview video, I says I've got nothing but 1% hope left that we will ever be able to turn into something. But genuinely, after 14, it was took to the 14th minute for me to turn around to the missus and says, yeah, we're not winning this game of football. And that's not me saying it after the fact or anything. That's truthfully what happened. After 14 minutes on the clock happened, I seen how we were getting tore to shreds. I says, I just didn't like this at all. And do you know why? That is 4th minute of the game is all it took Genk to sort of realise that all they had to do is make one pass in the middle of the park and hit the massive gaps between Suter and Jayden. Now, to be fair, Jayden's pace helps him recover for the shocking defensive position he put himself in, forces the attacker to cut back, and the shot is eventually blocked by Cornelius. But one pass, zip, and then you're in on Rangers, and it's another shot on goal. How many times are we going to see this before somebody in that building does anything to address it? But hey, that's a defensive woe. Let's go ahead and talk about the other side of the park, because we have balance at this football club, as we're just as bad defensively as we are in the attacking aspect. As again, in the 11th minute of the game, Raskin does brilliant, wins the ball, snaps, and then he plays the ball forward, gives it to Mikey Moore. Now, I tell you, please go ahead and watch this if you haven't seen it yet. If you can watch the game back, go to the 11th minute of the game. Raskin plays it in to Mikey Moore. Moore's here, right? Tav's there, he's on his bike, he's trying to run, he's not moving very fast, but his hands are moving quickly as the skipper tries to bomb forward, and Mikey Moore has the option. Tavernier's made the space, he's in so much, just play it to him. Just play it to him. We've got a 6'4" striker in there, Tavernier, with free space. I'd play it to him, but what he actually does is he jockeys. There's a defender there, by the way. Jockeys, and then when he's right next to Tavernier and broke the defender too, Tavernier, he then just taps it to Tav with a hospital pass and gives the ball away. It's so safe, it's so ponderous, it's so robotic, but it's so Rangers these days. Now, where Mikey Moore froze, and another big moment for this football club, he nearly had one of himself, because where he didn't slide the ball in, it had a massive gap to Tavernier. Tavernier does get in the ball after Gazma whips in across to the back post. He lays off Mikey, who ends up ballooning it over the bar by a couple of yards, clearly giving him a bit of a blood rush, and that's the only thing I can take away when we talk about the next moment, because just shortly after that, Jaden and Gazma, who again, attacking wise, were very, very good today. Jaden was good going forward, shocking at the back. Hello, Jeff Day. But anyway, Gazma tries to get wide to cross it to Chermeti. The ball ends up ricocheting. Raskin's lining up, and I'm like, oh my god, the wee man's going to get another goal. I'm up, you know what I mean? I'm up like this. It's got to be a goal. And then just out of nowhere, Mikey Moore comes in when it's clearly Raskin's ball with a clear sight and goal, and just almost tackles Raskin to have a shot that he balloons miles high and miles wide. It's just like, what's the kid doing? But again, he's a young, inexperienced kid throwing himself where he doesn't need to be. But if you fill your team with that and you continue to play that, you have kids playing that desperate. And that's the way Mikey Moore looked. I feel like he knew he made a mistake by no going forward in the 11th minute. He's had a howler, so he's just trying to make stuff happen there, and he's just tried to smash a ball when he shouldn't be anywhere near it. But again, the kid shouldn't be playing, so how hard do we need to be on him when he needs to get away for the old firing line? Well, the firing line continues to come from Mikey Moore in the next couple minutes, but before we get there, we have a Gwyneth Paltrow sliding door. Yeah, do you remember that movie? Bet you didn't expect to hear that in today's video. But it's a wonderful ball, and after winning a free kick, Tavernier chips it to the back post. Suter actually gets his head on something for once. I was like, what's going on here? It looks like it's gone in, but Enyon ends up doing a brilliant block and brilliant defensive bit of movement as he gets on the line and balloons it over with a brilliant goal line clearance, or it is 1-0 to Rangers. And it makes me sick because again, that was a guy I picked out as being the best overall player for Genk, someone I think that could hurt us, but I never envisioned it to be that way with a bicycle kick off the line to stop us from scoring. But that's about as good as it gets from a Rangers perspective, because again, Genk had figured out all they had today was one pass in the middle of the park and they just slide the ball in behind the massive gap. And that's what happened time and time again over the next 10 minutes, where to save this length for the video being out of control, we're going to sort of combine a couple of them, right? One of them, they end up going down the left hand side. Mikey Moore's too lazy, doesn't get back, doesn't help Tavernier is what he is in Big 2025. I love the guy, appreciate everything he's done, but he's no got it in the legs to keep up with these laddies anymore. They take him for a walk, they zip one into the back post, but thankfully Derek Cornelius is there, or has possibly got a tap in. But considering he misses a tap in 3 minutes later, maybe he wouldn't have scored it. And to avoid the corner, Cornelius should have just left it. But this time, where they terrorised Tav, it was time to terrorise young Jaden, as again, one pass in behind. The left back's here, right? The boss here, Suter's there, Jaden's here. Look at the gap, man. No wonder they're getting in every single time. Simple ball in, they then cut us right across. It's a sweaty goal, a tap-in goal for O, but ends up ballooning it from about 7-8 yards out, when again it's harder to miss than score. And I'm just sitting back going, oh my god, it's Club Bruges again, but Genk's just significantly worse than them. They then hit the posts again. They take Tavernier for a walk and he runs by and skips by John Suter. It's a brilliant shot trying to curl it in to the bread basket, but ends up hitting the post and getting cleared. There's another instance around about the 24th minute, I believe, where again Mikey Moore's got to go and help Tav. He's got to get back, but he switches off, allows the runner to get in behind the chuck in another cross, and this one zips right beyond where all it required was a touch. But again, thankfully O was slow on this occasion and couldn't get there. Or again, it's another goal. That's 3 or 4 again in the space of 6-7 minutes, and we're not doing nothing to adjust it. Where's the in-game adjustments? Where's the tactical switches? We're saying, right, Tavernier's struggling and let's put somebody a wee bit closer in. Let's maybe sit a wee bit back. Let's try and pack it a wee bit more. Where's the organisation to help what we've got on the park? There's none. And I feel like that was all very, very important to mention, because there's 3 or 4 golden opportunities prior to the red card that when we skip about 33 minutes into the game of football, I'm sure it actually is, we jump over that 10 minutes of domination and chance after chance for Genk, because we have the first of many VAR incidents. And again, it starts on the left hand side of Gazma. Surprise, surprise, him and Jaden are linking up well. Gazma beats his man, chips it to the back post. I'm thinking brilliant. There's big James Henry rolling back the years. His header ends up hitting the flaring arm of the defender, and again it's one of them that's absolutely stinking. But again, by the letter of the law, if the hand's outside the body and it stops a shot on goal, it's a handball. ball, right? So they try to play on as the referee doesn't give it, but then the VAR tells the referee that it's a penalty kick and he has to go ahead and see this. So the referee is visibly annoyed. Please go back and watch it. He's visibly frustrated. You can see it in his face prior to getting to the monitor. Maybe he's one of these referees that doesn't like getting told what to do, but he goes there at the monitor and he's watching and he's watching and he's watching, and then after a painstakingly long time he pulls the two captains there and says, Tavernier pushed the boy and it's a foul. But see, can I tell you something right now? Football is a physical game, and if Sterling's one from last year's game, sorry to bring up, versus Atletico Bilbao is allowed when he basically gets bulldozed out the way, then this one has to be given. And that's just, for me, a referee that's embarrassed and annoyed that the VAR has told them to do something differently, so he's looking for a reason not to give the VAR penalty and admit he was wrong. That's my interpretation. You might look at it differently, say it's a clear foul from Tav. It happens each and every single time. You know what I mean? You think of Dessers' goal versus Man United. Man, that referee was there. He would never give that either. Harry Maguire would never have scored a goal in his career because he's constantly on the back of defenders. But it is what it is. The referee makes the decision that he makes and goes against VAR telling him he's wrong and doubles downs on his mistake. But we weren't finished talking about this referee, the drama, or VAR yet, as it seemingly is these days in big 2025. You spare more time talking about refs getting things wrong, or linesmen getting things wrong, or VAR getting things wrong, than you do the actual football. And I genuinely feel bad for people that are growing up now watching this game of football, because it's so far away from what I remember watching as a win. And I know I've just sounded like everyone's granda right now, but football used to be brilliant. Man, it used to be exciting to watch. But now goals you can't celebrate, you can't do this, you have to watch this in case somebody sneezed on someone 30 seconds before he scored. You see clear handballs completely ignored. But eventually we end up getting a man sent off in the game of football as Dio lunges over the ball. He does get the ball, but he makes contact with the guy, and it's one of these ones you look at, is it a red card? Did he get the ball? You can have your own interpretation of it, but for me, he gets the ball, aye, but he does go over and make contact. It's a silly, needless lunge for a guy, in my opinion, that knew he was having a bad game. He's trying to spark himself back into life, and it's a poorly timed challenge as he goes over high and catches the boy. And by the letter of the law, it's a red card, and it makes me think, was it Ryan Jack versus Stevie May a couple years ago, or it'll be more than that now while showing my age, very similar on top of the ball. Yes, he gets a touch of the ball, but it goes over. And if Hummels is getting sent off last year for the game that we ended up speaking about right here on the channel, you've got to look at that one and be like, it's reckless, it's high, and it's daft for Dio. And again, it's needless for Dio, but we're panicking, we're shaking, we've no got one thing's no went our way, you know what I mean? We've no got the VAR decision, so everyone just panics and freaks out. There is none about this team, and they just look like desperate and daft, and that for me is what Dio was. Now I'll admit and hold my hands up, I originally thought there would have been something in this one, as Diomande refused to leave the park and he stood there expecting VAR to overturn it. So again, when I see a player refuse to go off the park, I'm thinking, well, he's innocent then. He's no touched him and VAR's going to tidy this up. So that was my thoughts when it originally happened. Then obviously it does get sent off, then I see it back and I'm like, yeah, I get it, it's the letter of the law. But it's funny, they follow the letter of the law on that occasion, but they didn't do it for the penalty. Where's the old thing called consistency? That would be absolutely fantastic. But now we're doing to 10 men, you think, right, that's enough VAR drama, that's enough referee drama. Oh god, there's a penalty kick. Now the penalty kick I originally thought was for when Suter slid in and obviously tried to block the ball, and I thought that's a brilliant bit of defending for Big Soapy getting stuck in. But eventually seeing it back, I think Tavernier clips the defender or knocks his foot into the defender. It surely can't be for the hand on the shoulder. Somebody can let me know what the official line was or what they ended up breaking down post-match and everything like that, because you know I don't watch that stuff until after I've recorded my video, so I don't know how it's actually went or what the official reasoning was. So it can't be this. He must have clipped them somewhere, and then up steps O with an opportunity what he was dying to do, and that's score a goal. But Jackie B steps up again and goes ahead and puts both gloves on the Player of the Year award, as there is one person and one person only that's turned up every single game we've played, and that's Jackie B. We are brilliant penalty save. But does it get anything fair? The game, does it get his flowers? No, because why? The people in front of them aren't up to the standard that Jackie B is. But again, that was a boost getting into half-time, and any other team, that might just give you the rah-rah needed to go ahead and pull on the second half, roll your socks off and make sure you didn't lose the game, because now you have 15 minutes to go through things, right? Let's tighten this up, let's play this here, they're exploiting this play, so maybe let's play a wee bit narrower, let's try and play a wee bit smarter, let's try and play actual football. It's not troops, there's just nothing, and it's absolutely dreadful to watch. But when you see how we tactically approached the second half and how we tactically approached Genk overall in the game, it's no surprise to me to sit here and tell you we've got as many red cards in the season as we have points. Let that sink in. But to be fair, there was one sub at half-time as Mikey Moore got took off at a game of football he didn't deserve to start anymore, and Ant-Man went ahead and came on, and Ant-Man tried to buzz about, you know what I mean, he was trying to get involved in things, but the game was mostly dead at this point. However, there was an opportunity in the midst of shots, you know what I mean, I feel like I was watching a Jack Butland compilation on Twitter or something like that, in between the many shots that Jack Butland saved over about a 4-minute period, where I think he made 4 or 5 saves, or 3 or 4 saves, whatever ended up being, we ended up getting the ball forward. Gazama, surprise, surprise, after some great work from Chimete, bringing the ball down and looking like a football player. I was like, oh, you aren't playing with a pair of Timbies on. It's nice to see you've got football bits. He plays it to the gas man. Gazama chips it in. I think Chimete headers it back, and Asgard's got an opportunity that he scored versus Moldova, but he ends up ballooning this one at the bar, and it just summed up for me, which was one of the poorest performances of the day, and that was Asgard. Because again, if you are going to be slow, and if you are going to be lazy, and if you're going to make John Lundstrom look like Usain Bolt in terms of the pace department, you've at least got to show a bit of quality on the other end and put the ball away. But today, that and the way it went, again, just summed up his performance. But again, because I'm not going to take up all your day listening to bad news, I'm going to combine a couple of the clear opportunities that Genk made and sort of brush over a couple more. Because again, every time they're getting forward, every time they're getting it wide, every time they're chucking a ball in the mixer, but there was a block from Suter, there was a block for Cornelius, there was even a block by Asgard as it ended up hitting him from a corner, and then O misses another sitter as a carbon copy of what they've done all day was on display. Pass in to the middle of the park, the midfielder lifts his head and passes in to the space between the centre back and the full back, whether that's Cornelius and Jaden or Tavernier, who's not even in the picture anymore, by the way, because he's just so slow at getting back, and Soapy. They were just picking, they were going left, they were going right, they were going left, and they were going right. They just had the Rangers team looking daft, honestly, like deers in the headlines. But they end up playing the ball down behind Cornelius and Jaden again, massively out of position. They zip the ball in. O's there for another tap in, but this one trickles just wide. Again, I'm thinking, by goodness gracious, how on earth did Genk get a £30 million bid for that lad? Is that money laundering or something? And just as I say that, troops, O's end up putting the ball into the back of net with a good finish. To be fair, it is a good finish, but can we please just pull it back to the Rangers defensive line? Can you just look on your screen? We are down to 10 men in the 60th minute, round about that period where we are at home and needing to get a result, where the team's struggling, not exactly firing, fully fit and full of confidence. We are supposed to be better than this. We are supposed to be well coached and well drilled and training like beasts. Look at their defence. Look how scattered it is. Look how wide open we are. We genuinely didn't look coached. But again, we try to get things going, and to be fair, Chimete again brings the ball down, plays it to the gas man. Gas man cuts aside, has a shot that is just wide. But every time we try to take on something, there'd be 3 or 4 attacks. And again, O ends up putting the ball into the back of net. Guess how it happens? Yeah, one pass into the midfield, one pass into the space between the centre back and the full back, no matter which side, just one pass in behind every time, and he sweats it for another tap in. Now, to be fair, this one is offside. Again, perfectly summarising and stapling down as that is a Dessler's experience for the guy called O. But again, it's just another same stuff, and there's none getting done. And this is against Genk, who's been struggling all season. Imagine Roma, imagine Porto, imagine these teams that actually have attacking weapons to them, what they're going to do to this back line. Oh aye, we've already seen it before. It was Club Bruges. And we've no changed nothing. But to save all our sanities, I'm going to jump a wee bit later on to the game as there was a dive for Gazima, which I didn't like to see. I know he's anticipating the knock and maybe he's protecting himself, but I didn't like seeing it. I call out when Boyle does it. I call out other people that I didn't like seeing that. I just didn't. I'm sorry for calling out a range, but I just didn't really like it. But then the 88th minute comes where we nearly grab an equaliser despite how bad this has been. That's how bad Genk are gone for. We nearly grabbed an equaliser in the game, despite how wide open, despite conceding 4 or 5 clear shots on goal. We play the ball again, gets to the left hand side. Gazima's heavily involved. Surprise, surprise. The ball ends up dropping to Connor Barron, who fires the ball, and it ends up being headed clear when it looks like it's gone into the back of net. And that attack was actually started by Raphael, by the way, who used his pace, zipped about and go forward. It was nice to see that. But again, we didn't put the set piece specialist. We have a set piece specialist in our team. Say what you want about Joe Raphael, but the one thing this man's got in his locker that every single club agrees is he's very good at corner kicks. Do you know how many corner kicks we gave him in this game of football? None. Do you know how many corner kicks we wasted in a game? And I'm not turning into saying a James Henry thing, you know what I mean? I've got a lot of love and respect for the man, but come on, man, put the guy out his misery, man. Take him off the frickin' things. It's no working. How many floated empty calorie crosses do we need to see come into the box? The perfect example is the 96th, 7th minute. We put it in there and it just gets floated in to absolutely nobody. Troops, the set piece delivery was shocking, but again, when you didn't let the one guy who's actually credited as a set piece specialist take them, is there any surprise on it? But it's just disorganised chaos in a Rangers team. That's truly how I see it. A disorganised, chaotic circus of a side. And yeah, we all know how it ends, Trips, but we continue to buy our tickets and watch the same thing air and air and air. Again, it just doesn't feel right to me, and I'm very interested to see how long again the Rangers chairman allows this to run clearly out of control. But that's how I feel in the game of football. The referee, the red card certainly played its part in the game, but we were getting ripped to shreds and conceding shots, several shots clearly on goal before the red card. And again, all it underlines to me is Martin can't organise a side and set up shop and get a bit more structure to his team, because he done nothing to adjust it at all. It was the same, and we conceded the same chance after chance after chance all damn day. And maybe I'm just a daft fan, but it doesn't seem like it should be that way. I've seen us play against a McInnes side, I've seen us play against these sides in Scottish football, that when they go down to 10 men, it's hard to break them down, because they make it ugly, they make it tough, they play really hard, they get stuck in. We've got none of that. And again, my question, considering how much these players are paid, how much the people in the building are paid, and how much we've spent in the summer, why do we still not have a team that's able to do that? There's a lot of questions for a lot of people in that building. But that's my thoughts and opinions. It's very, very disappointing, as I really earmarked this one, is despite how poor we've been playing, Genk's been playing worse in terms of the results. I was hoping we would get something, but it's another lacklustre, boring display watching this football club. So very interested to see what your opinions are. Martin in, Martin out, or is it no Martin's fault? It's the referees. You can let me know down in the comments section below. But as always, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.